Hi, this is Barb Cooper from helpmysquashgame.com, and I come from the era of Muhammad Ali, Cassius Clay, you know, float like the butterflies, sting like a bee. And I want you to think about squash today like a boxing match, because it is. It's a boxing match. If I was throwing a punch at you, I would be wanting to use my body weight. It would come from my core, it would come from my legs. Most people understand that when they're boxing, that's why they're doing so much skipping. They're actually throwing the punch from their legs and letting it come all the way up the chain of their body and out through their hand. Now, I need you to think of the same sort of thing when you're hitting squash balls. What I mean by this is, if you can start to become more efficient, arrive at the ball on time, let the body coil up and deliver that punch, deliver that swing to your opponent, your shot will have more guts on it. Your shot will automatically have more penetration. Your shot will actually go further for less work. And that's all about efficiency. When you're thinking like a boxing match, the other thing that changes is you'll be hunting the ball more. And what I mean by hunting is you'd be looking to step into it, to go forwards and hit the ball. It's not a passive game. If you're passively letting the ball come to you, then basically you're passively standing there letting somebody hit you and you're constantly recoiling. That's not how you want to play the game. Think of the stuff I've said to you before. You want to be in the middle of the court, on the amber zone, throwing those volley punches and letting the other person recoil and go get your stuff. Go get those drives. Dig the ball out of the back corner, struggle up to the front of the court and have their rear end exposed a bit. That's what you're trying to do. So think of this while you're playing as a boxing match. Use your body weight, time your shot and hunt the ball. And for that, there's a great resource that I want to show you. This book's looking a bit dog-eared. This is called Psyching for Sport by Terry Orlick. Great resource, just a great resource for you. It'll help you get your mindset into a place where you want to go and chase the ball and look for it and actually use all of those opportunities for your advantage and to make sure that you're able to really, I'm going to say hurt, but I mean that in a metaphorical sense. I'm not saying swing and hit them. But I mean, you're going to actually make your opponent actually run and work for the ball. Now, let's go and think about training. And one of the things that really is outstanding here to me that I don't see people do very much is they don't train to run backwards. Now remember, in squash, 50% of your time is recovering to the tee. That means it's going backwards. You're going backwards. You're going to the front and having to come back. So if you're doing any sort of training on a treadmill, if you're doing any sort of just straight running in the park, if you're doing any sprint work, I want you to add in running backwards. So you can turn around on a treadmill, believe it or not, and you can run backwards. Just be careful about it. Do it slowly to start with. And then when you start to understand the use of this, particularly on a treadmill, start running sideways, using your right leg as the lead leg and your left leg as the lead leg. And you can do this out in the park. So you're going to run forwards, then you're going to turn sideways, do a bit of sideways running, turn the other way, do a bit of backwards running, then run backwards and start the whole process again. This sort of stuff will give you flexibility on the court, will give you motion that you've trained so that when you want to recover, you'll be efficient. And that's what you're looking for. All right? Remember, you're trying to be a boxer, so that means float like a butterfly. All right? Which means your footwork's got to be light and good. And now it's time for Ask Barb. And I got a very interesting question from Robbie Osha. And he asked me what the difference was between playing a right-handed person and playing a left-handed person. And obviously, I'm going to say something so obvious, but when they hit the ball, A right-handed person would be playing a backhand. A left-handed person is playing a forehand. Now, everybody's forehand has the ability to dig the ball out of the back corners easier. Your hand is in a different place. Your hitting shoulder is at the back of your body. You're able to use an open stance. So you can go into the back corner on a forehand and really dig the ball out well. On the backhand side, anybody is going to be a little bit more restricted, unable to reach so far back because the hitting shoulder is in the front of their body. And so they are a little bit less able to hurt you from a deep ball in the backhand corner. Now, when you reverse that, you've got to remember that now if you're playing to what you're thinking is a backhand, but you're playing a lefty, it's become a forehand. That means that ball that you hit deep into their forehand, the angle has to change. It's got to be wider, and it's got to have a little bit more length on it to create the effect that you want, because you need the ball to go by them and you need it to be behind them. If it isn't, they can hurt you because it's on their forehand. So think about that. When you're hitting to a lefty's forehand, you have to change the angle a bit to make it wider so that they don't cut it off, and to make it deeper so that it actually gets behind their body thoroughly. And that way they can't hurt you. You're wanting to force a boast out of them, but it's going to be harder on that side of the court. I hope that helps you. And this is Barb Cooper from helpmysquashgame.com, signing off and wishing you all the best with your squash.